Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Our topic for today is what is your deepest desire? What does your heart truly long for? What's going to make your soul feel the most fulfilled? We are doing 3 groups today using these oracle cards, group 1 and 2 and 3. You can pick just based on the back of these cards, the numbers 1 to 3, or if you already have like a rough idea of which group you want to pick, I'm gonna flip the cards over for you to see what the front artwork is like, as well as the words written on the deck, so that can hopefully also help you confirm your choice. Okay, if you already made a choice, then let's look at the front of these cards. Group 1, you have the thread with number 70. Group 2, you have the sustainer with number 24. And finally, group 3, your card is the flame with 51. Alright, I hope you've chosen your groups already, and let's get started with your reading. Hi group 1, you picked the thread card, and let's give your tarot cards a shuffle to see what is your deepest desire. What is your deepest longing? I think we're gonna get really deep and reflective and intense today. That is my intention for today's reading. Okay. Your group already has a very reflective, explorative, inward-looking feeling. I think you guys are really good at interpreting symbols and interpreting messages, signs, words. You are probably very avid readers already. And subjects like history, philosophy, humanities, literature, linguistics might interest you a lot. Let's give these cards one more shuffle, and I want to start with just taking 4 cards. We're not going to organize today's reading in any particular way, just going to be asking the cards for this one big question and letting whatever the cards want to say come out. Your first card is the Moon card, which is about mysteries, about confusion, about the discomfort of confusion, and eventually understanding that confusion is really necessary for clarity. You know, there's no light if we don't first walk through darkness. The Hierophant, which is also about being guided to light. Oops. That's a bit too many cards. And then you have the 4 of Wands. And let's take one more. The 4 of Wands is about stability, the comfort of home, the stability of a foundation. Okay, let's just take this top card, which is the Princess of Discs, which is the Page of Pentacles in traditional tarot. Okay, as I said already, confusion as well as working through confusion to find clarity is a big theme of this group. Confusion is both what frustrates you and also what nourishes you. It's like the darkness before the light, the what's it called, like twilight before the dawn or something. You know, it's a phase that you have to go through to teach you the value of knowing, the value of insight. And you're meant to make something beautiful and creative now out of phases of not knowing. So you might go through intense periods of self-reflection, of inner transformation, and once you're done with those phases, you will be able to create something beautiful that you've never ever imagined possible before. And I think finding collaborative and nourishing partnerships is also a huge lesson or huge part of your inner transformation, you need or you yearn for someone who can guide you into the light. This is probably either a very deep and connected mentorship with a teacher or spiritual counselor, or anyone who can guide you, or this is a romantic situation, or it's a friendship situation where you form a very deep and long-lasting bond, a soul bond with a friend. And no matter what role that person plays in your life, they're gonna be in your life for the rest of your life, and you're gonna be in theirs. And I see you guys guiding each other through the different phases of your lives, through the lights and the darks. And I think there's a great possibility of you guys creating something with that person. Yeah, a lot of your deep desire is for clarity, is for meaning. It's the search for meaning. And I think that's probably also why you're so interested in philosophy or literature or history. It's like you're trying to decipher the meaning of life out of words, out of art, or out of music, out of whatever form of creativity that humans have so far undertook. You guys are very soulful people, and you enjoy very deep discussions. Let's take a clarifier for each of these cards. I know I didn't quite get into the Princess of Discs yet, but I'm gonna wait for the clarifiers. Okay, to clarify the moon, you have the Ace of Discs or the Ace of Pentacles. The Lovers card almost came out. And let's take, okay, this one. Ace of Swords clarifying the Hierophant. And to clarify the Four of Wands, you have Lust or Strength. And finally, let's take the bottom of the deck. You have the Nine of Cups clarifying the Princess of Discs or the Page of Pentacles. Okay, one message about how you can work through confusion or darkness, the lack of clarity, is actually by not thinking it through, but turning it into creative projects. So I guess as an example, if something that you're confused about right now is how you can make yourself more open, more vulnerable for love, then instead of thinking it through, instead of trying to find the answers in books or by asking people, make art about it, write about it, make music or sing about it, whatever form of creativity comes most naturally to you. There is something being worked out in your unconscious in the Ace of Discs and the Moon card. Sometimes when you're really struggling to find answers, well, that's a sign that you've struggled enough, and if you continue to push at it mentally, it's probably not going to be very fruitful. So you might as well turn that energy into a different kind of outlet, or simply going out for a walk or for a run or exercising can be helpful. Those things will help your subconscious work through any confusion that you have. The Ace of Swords underneath the Hierophant, this is definitely a mentorship situation, and even if that person is not exactly a mentor to you, they will do the work of a mentor for you. There's a lot of deep talks, deep discussions. It's like you guys can talk with each other for an entire day and not get tired of each other. There's always something more to say with this person. And I feel like this person also gives you a sense of, I want to say humbleness, but it's not as though they're going to put you down or humble you in any way. It's just talking with them is going to open up your mind to so much that you feel humbled by everything that you thought you knew. It's like every time you hang out with this person or talk to them, they surprise you in some way and they open your mind up to different possibilities. In strength, it's lust in this deck because the interpretation for strength in this deck is more about surrendering to the universe, collaborating with the universe, and allowing yourself to be taken wherever the universe wants your life to flow. That's sort of why it's lust instead of strength in this card, because I guess the creators of this deck thought that surrendering is already a form of strength. And for this card to clarify the Four of Wands, I feel like you are playing a very artful balance between surrender and stability, between going with the flow of life and having something solid you can lean on. So this can take the form of being very creative and curious and spontaneous about what you do every day, but doing all of that at a fixed home or fixed place. Because the Four of Wands is usually a card about establishments, about your foundation, so that can be your home, your living environment. So you can have, or you can, maybe you are the kind of person who likes to put a lot of care into where they live so that they can feel free to explore and feel free to do whatever they want in that place. So I think achieving financial stability and the stability of living situation early on in your life is very helpful for your creativity. So I would advise this group to think about saving up to perhaps buy a house if that's already in your plan, or saving up so that you can live in a neighborhood that makes you feel very comfortable and cozy. And once you have that place to live in, I think you're gonna feel a lot more comfortable and at ease with yourself, with your quest for meaning, with your creative endeavors. And in the Princess of Discs, or the Page of Pentacles, this card, the interpretation in this deck is actually quite interesting because the interpretation is sort of the element of earth on the brink of transformation. So that's like birthing new life into reality, that's transforming the raw material of life. This is the card that made me feel that you guys are extremely creative and that you are going to be creating something with this mentor or partner type of person in your life. Or perhaps it's just very simply about creating a family, having children. In the Nine of Happiness, this card, Nine of Cups, which says happiness at the bottom. This card is really about being happy on your own, having your own cup to be overflowing, and having more to offer. I feel like this partner or mentor or teacher person, your relationship with them will start out as you being extremely inspired by them, but over time, by hanging out with them, you will see that you are actually equal partners, that you can teach them as much as they can teach you. And it's not like you're comparing yourself to them. It's like just relating yourself to them and seeing that you are already like the person who inspires you the most will give you a lot of confidence And it's like that person is your mirror. You might start out feeling like they're a lot more advanced in life than where you are, but over time you will see that they are just a mirror to you and you are just a reflection of them. And that's why you guys have this extremely nurturing bond. Yeah, this is a really nourishing soul relationship for you, and it's really going to help you on your search for meaning. Like the word meaning is so important to this group. The meaning of art, the meaning of life, like what we are supposed to be doing when we are alive as humans. Those questions really cross group one's minds a lot. Yeah. And I would encourage you to turn that into something creative. If you are currently only thinking about these deep questions and not creating anything out of them, I would advise you to think of ways that you can turn your search for meaning into something tangible and concrete that you can share with the rest of the world. Whether that's writing, like writing books, or speaking, for example, making a podcast, or doing YouTube videos, or teaching something, making art, making music, dancing, I don't know, designing architecture, whatever it is. Like it's like your whole being is supposed to participate in this search for meaning and not just your mind. I think I want to just take some advice cards for just more guidance on how you can fulfill your deepest desire. Oh, so many cards came out. Wow. Your spirit really wants to be vocal. But let's only take these 3 cards. Okay, so you've got the Prince of Wands, which is the King of Wands in this deck, the 10 of Pentacles, it says wealth at the bottom, and 6 of Swords with science at the bottom. Studying, academic pursuits, the pursuit for knowledge, for science, very important for this group. Oh, I think I only talked about you guys being interested in humanities subjects, but you can also be interested in scientific subjects. If that is you, then I feel like your take on science or your perspective for scientific subjects is not solely technical. You bring a philosophical edge to whatever field you study or whatever thing you're interested in. Again, achieving wealth, achieving abundance early on is really important for this group. It is going to make you feel a lot more secure in your quest for meaning, because that's not necessarily a materially promising path for people to take, right? And if you I just want to caution you against putting all of your energy into searching for meaning, the meaning of life, because if you don't put enough energy into your material well-being, then eventually it's gonna make you feel insecure and it's going to harm your quest for meaning. So please make sure that you are living a balanced life spiritually and materially and mentally and physically. So as we talked about before, don't put all of your energy into your mind. Make sure that you're balanced in all aspects of your being, of your existence, and so on. In the King of Wands or Prince of Wands, I feel like you guys, there is advice for you to be more vocal about things that interest you. Be more vocal to your friends, to your community, your family, your social media followers. I feel like a lot of you in this group think that the things that interest you won't interest others. not even your close friends. I feel like there are parts of you that you've boxed up and kept hidden from those who are close to you. But I don't think that's really the case. I feel like you only feel that way because the majority of people on this planet aren't interested in the things that you are interested in. But I don't think that's the case for your friends, because they are the people that you've chosen, right? So there must be something in them that's similar to you. Be more vocal about your interests and hobbies and your philosophical questions. And in the Six of Swords or Science, there is another message about again about balance. So it is important for you to have a home that you feel comfortable in, but it's also important not to be tied down to a specific place. Like there is advice against a hoarding energy. Don't like own too many things. Then what you can comfortably take care of, what you can easily bring with you, because I feel like life will eventually take you on many journeys and take you to many different places. Of course, you should have a place to return to that makes you feel safe and at home, but I guess don't compromise the ability to go out and explore just to have, safety and security. Yeah, like, it's like a tree having really deep and strong roots so that the top, the leaves can flower, or like they can grow all the way to the sides and expand. Yeah, that is all of the things that I wanted to say for your group. And let's just end this reading right here. Thank you so much for listening in. And I really hope this reading gave you some clarity, which I know your group really wants. And yeah, I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye. Hi, Group 2s. Welcome to your reading. You picked the Sustainer card with number 24. I'm gonna start by shuffling your tarot cards. I was gonna say that the number 24 gives me a feeling of duality and making something beautiful out of a balanced life. So it's not a life with many new beginnings, many new adventures, and it's not a life of drastic changes, transformations, and destructions, but it's a life that's sustaining, as the card says. It's a life of comfort and ease, and allowing ourselves to grow slowly, gradually, kind of like how a human baby grows into a human adult, and not like how a caterpillar transforms into a butterfly. I feel like this group's energy is slow and steady and calm. Calm is really the key word for you guys. And I feel like for some reason, I think many people in this group is very comfortable with doing work that's not so glamorous from the outset. Like work that's necessary but doesn't really get all the attention. So for example, it's like members of the orchestra versus the singer on stage that gets the spotlight. Or, construction workers versus the architect. Yeah, jobs like that. I'm also seeing some of you guys rewatching old television shows or old anime, whatever you're interested in, over and over. Or just listening to the same music every day, reading the same books over and over, because each time you garner or you have new experiences from the same things. Ooh, you have the Death card. I'm gonna be taking 4 cards to start with, and Yeah, so our reading for today is not going to be organized in any particular way. I'm just going to be pulling cards and letting whatever messages the cards want to say come out. And Empress. Both major arcana cards. The work of a sustainer is not glamorous but very important. I think that's why you have two major arcana cards. And it's also often neglected in our society today, right? Because it's not as though people can make documentaries about the kind of work that you do day after day. Oh, and then you have the Prince of Wands, which is the King of Wands in this deck, and the Ten of Wands with oppression at the bottom. There is caution against repeating things too much. So I'm gonna use myself as an example. I really love the TV show Friends. I've watched that show for like maybe 20-30 times now. The only reason I stopped rewatching it is because they no longer have the copyright in my country. Yeah, they used to have Friends in China on one of the the video platforms, but for some reason like the platform stopped purchasing the right to play the TV show, and now yeah, you can't easily find Friends episodes in China anyway. But I used to rewatch that show so much, but it comes a point where that rewatching gets tiresome, and there comes a point where I'm just wasting my time and energy to rewatch that show, right? It's important not to be too stuck in your ways, even though it's important to repeat things in order to establish security, to establish familiarity. And in the Death card, even though you guys aren't transforming in drastic ways, your transformation is ongoing. It is happening. It's just perhaps more behind the scenes and not so noticeable. It might also be happening on a subconscious level, so you might not be super aware of how you've changed over the years. But I feel like if you were to look at old photos or read your old diaries, if you've kept them, then you will see how much you've come. And there's a message to give yourself credit for how much you've grown. I feel like some of you in this group are thinking to yourselves that you haven't learned anything. You haven't really like build up any skills, but that's not the case. Again, you only have to look back and really recall what you were once capable of. Compare that to what you are capable now. I think you will be surprised by how much you've changed. And the Empress, again, a lot of you are into like caring for people, caring for a home, like doing the maintenance work that most people take for granted. So you might be like housewives or house husbands, and it's your job to sustain everyone and nourish everyone, and you see the importance in doing that. I feel like perhaps when you were younger, you had the insecurity of, feeling what you do isn't important enough. But I feel like where you are now, I'm not getting that vibe from you. Instead, I'm getting the feeling of knowing exactly what you're worth, knowing the worth of what you do. And it doesn't matter what others say. It doesn't matter that you don't get all the attention or the spotlight, because you value the sustaining work that you do. Oops. I think in the King of Wands, you have more eyes on you, or more followers, more people who are inspired by you than you think. There is a feeling of having just more people watching you than perhaps you are aware of, but it's the good kind of attention. I feel like perhaps the things that you do, we as a society are becoming more and more aware of the value in the things that you do. Yeah, you know how, I don't know if you guys watch like housewife vlogs on YouTube, because I really enjoy those vlogs. It's usually just silent vlogs with subtitles of what a woman does in her day to take care of her home and family. Um, I feel like for a lot of mainstream cultures, like being a housewife is not the most glamorous thing, right? But I'm really happy that at least on YouTube, there's more and more awareness and acceptance of the beauty and the value in the work of a housewife. And people are willing to film their days, and share their work, as housewives. Yeah, I'm gonna take a clarifier for each of these 4 cards to get more messages for you. Oh, I know I didn't exactly say what your deepest desire is. I think, I feel like it's everything that we've talked about so far. It's the desire for peace, for things to be stable. There is a deep sense of nostalgia in this group. I should have said that from the beginning. Yeah. Do you guys like Lana Del Rey? Because I feel like a lot of her songs give me the feeling of nostalgia for an America that was once, carefree and inspiring to her. I don't know if that's really what she was trying to communicate in her music, but that's what I that's what I get from her songs. And there is, a similar kind of nostalgia and sensuality and coziness from your group. And it's like you guys have a nostalgic or idyllic or like utopic, I guess, vision of what you want society to look like. So you could be drawn to or inspired by things that your parents did or things that your grandparents did, the kind of lives that they lived. A lot of nostalgia for the past. It's like you're trying to recreate things that were once valued or that were once common, that we've sort of been forgetting these days. Perhaps, as examples, you guys could be interested in organic farming or more environmentally conscious practices that people did in the past that we've sort of lost as we've transitioned into this like industrial or like money conscious society. Slow living could be like attractive to you guys. Okay, let's take this one. You have the 4 of Pentacles with power at the bottom, clarifying death card, and you have the 10 of Cups, which says satiety, clarifying the Empress, and the Lust card, which is the Strength card in traditional tarot, clarifying the Prince of Wands. You have this card in the same position as Group 1 did. And they also had the Prince or King of Wands. It's just came out in a different portion of their reading. And then finally you have the Sun card clarifying the 10 of Wands. A lot of very positive energy. Like the Sun card is one of the most confident feeling cards in tarot, and the 10 of Cups is just the most emotionally fulfilled card in tarot. And of course the Empress is also a very confident and sensual, beautiful feeling card. In the Four of Pentacles with the Death card, I feel like I'm getting the feeling of trying to slow things down, trying to slow down the world, trying to slow down the changes happening in your life. I feel like you guys don't really like fast changes, sudden changes, moving to somewhere new. It's like if you have to move somewhere new, then you like to do that in stages. So instead of moving to a different country right away, maybe you would try out going to a different city and so on. You like to start small and build up. You are definitely building up and expanding. It's just, I think you guys want to make each step a firm one. I think this is also how you learn things. Like, you don't feel the need to rush through the boring parts of a subject, like most people do, you know? But you are comfortable and you actually enjoy day-to-day practices that can perhaps bore a lot of people. Like if you are really a member of an orchestra, like the example we used earlier, then I feel like you enjoy your practice a lot day after day, and that interest never really diminishes. And in the Ten of Cups, clarifying the Empress, it's like for you guys, your happiness comes from making other people happy. Or I guess I should say that your happiness is collective. I feel like your group doesn't really have a feeling of separation from the collective. Perhaps you don't really have a strong sense of individuality, or perhaps you just come from a collective culture, and you grow up in a big family, and so on. So you sort of take your community into your own heart. And you know your community or your close friends very, very well, to the point where you can easily take what they are feeling as what you are feeling. But I don't feel like this is a lack of boundary thing for this group. It's just that your happiness is multiplied like tenfold, because your happiness is the happiness of 10 people or even more people than that. It's the happiness of your community, and you're capable of that much feeling, that much empathy. In strength, clarifying the King of Wands. Oh, okay. I feel like there is a, it's like you guys know the value or the importance of the more service type of work. Like if we're talking about the 16 personalities, then you guys are definitely the N's and F's and P's. I don't know, I think there's one particular kind of 16 personalities that is like advocating for other people or assisting other people. Is that INFP or something? Well, that could be you. Oh yeah, it's the feeling of help me, help you. I think that is the definition they give for INFPs or INFJ. I don't remember, even though I am one of those. Yeah, anyway, there's a feeling of help me, help you, and wanting to see other people succeed, and taking that as your definition of success. Yeah, that is really, really beautiful. And by the way, I think the people you help understand your value and how much you mean to them. However, for some reason, they're just not being vocal about it. I think that's also because, mainstream society hasn't really understood the value of your work. So, well, I guess perhaps they're not being vocal about how much they're grateful for you, because society as a whole doesn't really talk about, the importance of what you do. So they sort of just hold that gratitude feeling in their hearts. But they are grateful and they appreciate you and they understand your value. Yeah, and the Sun card clarifying the Ten of Wands, this is the card that made me advise you against repeating things too much, because sustainers might have the challenge of being sort of stuck in the past, and not like venturing into something new. But I feel like all you have to do to overcome that is to, again, connect with your childhood self, with your past, because I think the past for you is both something that's old and familiar and repeated, but also something that's innocent and childlike, with that childlike feeling of curiosity. There is such an interesting duality in your definition or understanding of the past, because I feel like so often people say the past as if it's like something to overcome, something not to repeat ever again. People talk about karmic cycles to break, but I feel like in your case, the past or past cycles is both something that ground you, but also a period when you felt carefree enough to actually explore new things. It's like there's both familiarity and adventure in your nostalgia for the past. Oops. Yeah, so perhaps your solution is actually to explore what the past means to you. What are you so nostalgic about? What exactly are you so nostalgic about? Yeah. Finally, I'm gonna pull a few cards to look at more advice for you on how you can fulfill your deepest desire. And that card came out very fast. It's the Seven of Cups with debauch at the bottom. This is a card about, well, it's not actually a card that's about, but it's just my current interpretation of this card today. It's about losing judgments, or like being more non-judgmental. Yeah, that's the better way to say it. Being non-judgmental about yourself, about your interests, about the things that you do. You also have the Devil card, another major arcana card. The Devil can be about attachments, but it can also be about long-time commitments. And that's the interpretation I'm gonna give for your group today. Commitments, long-standing, long-lasting commitments that can last lifetimes, and also creating things, building things for future generations to enjoy. Yeah, it's like you have a strong and beautiful vision of what human life is supposed to be like, and you are willing to take the time, work at it slowly, take the rest of your life to work at it if you have to, so that future generations can benefit, or just future generations of your family. Yeah. Let's take one more, and this one is the Eight of Pentacles, which is a card about practice. I'm being reminded again of that member of the orchestra example who has to practice their instrument like day after day, and it's the same kind of practice. I want to say more about the Seven of Cups. This is a card about not being judgmental, about allowing your different interests or different ideas, different paths to come out into play. So I guess don't try to fix yourself into one possibility. like it's important to stick with one path or one skill, whatever you're pursuing, but it's also important not to make that your only life purpose. You can have a life to yourself outside of the important work that you do. So if you are a housewife or a house husband, I don't know if that's the word, you can have a very fulfilling and interesting life that's outside of the family that you care for, right? So you can have many hobbies or passions. You don't necessarily have to make anything significant out of those hobbies, but you can still have those things. They're like treats for you and only you. Yeah, that is all the messages that I have for you, my dear group 2s, and thank you so much for listening. I really hope this reading gave you some clarity and hope and more self-understanding. Yeah, I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye. Hi group 3s, welcome to your reading. I'm gonna give your tarot cards a shuffle and we will see what is your deepest desire. What is your soul truly long for? I feel like seeing the truth, having clear eyesight are very important to you. It's like perhaps what you desire the most is to see the truth. Either like the truth, the biggest truth, or just truths, smaller truths of situations, of people, of yourself, of the state of the world, and so on. Like there is a yogic practice where people gaze into the candle flame, and that is said to improve our eyesight and our focus. I guess it's also like the triangular shape of this image that's making me think of truth, because triangles, they represent something stable, right? And like the prism, like something clear, something that's not confusing. Okay, I'm gonna start by pulling 4 cards. We are not gonna be structuring this reading in any specific way, and just gonna let whatever messages that the cards want to tell us come out. Okay, let's take that card. You have the 6 of Wands. It says victory at the bottom. Also, Jupiter in Leo. I'm not usually called to say the astrology placements on these cards, because personally, like for some reason, the planets on these cards, they don't really speak that much to me. I prefer to use my astro dice for that, but we're not going to be doing that today. But for some reason, I just feel called to say Jupiter in Leo. Perhaps you have Jupiter in Leo, or you are a Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. Or Jupiter in Leo, it's the sense of confidence, like being able to lead because we are secure in knowing our own worth. And being able to expand to be more than what we are because we are secure in, knowing our own truth and capabilities. You also have the Knight of Discs or Knight of Pentacles in traditional tarot, Queen of Swords, and Two of Pentacles with change at the bottom. Okay, the Knight of Pentacles in this deck is also a card that means leadership, that means taking the initiative to me. That's not like the usual meaning of the Knight of Pentacles in the traditional deck. It's just, for some reason, the imagery of this deck gives me that feeling. Like taking the initiative to communicate to someone, taking the initiative to start a project, to pitch an idea, to be vocal, to make your opinions heard. Again, truth, speaking the truth, seeing the truth, spreading the truth, all important themes to this group. The Queen of Swords is another card about clear seeing, and also about like communicating the truth in a way that doesn't harm people. You know, the Three of Swords in tarot is like the truth, but it hurts. And the Queen of Swords has mastered the ability to say that truth and not hurt others. The Two of Pentacles, this one also has Jupiter on it. It's Jupiter in Capricorn. I was hesitating because I was like, do I have Jupiter in Capricorn? And I do. Like, for some reason that felt familiar. That combination was familiar. Like Jupiter in Capricorn is very stable-minded people, and we take our expansion, our education, I guess, step by step. And the Two of Pentacles is also a card about mastering the achievement of stability in the middle of chaos. So it's the ability to stay balanced, to stay centered, to be calm, to be unshaken in our own truth, even though like our external situation might be a little bit turbulent, a little bit chaotic. Because there is something that's empowering, there's something that's grounding from the truth that we see. I feel like you guys might be really interested in philosophy in particular, and you like to ask about moral questions, how we should live, what's the most responsible way to live. I'm gonna be taking clarifiers just right away. I'm gonna take one clarifying card for each of these 4 cards. Let's just take one, which is the Ten of Pentacles. Actually, I feel like I should take this card too. It is the Five of Pentacles. Ooh, this is like the half of the journey, and this is the completion of the journey. And then for the Knight of Pentacles, let's take the clarifier of that card is taking a while, and it's the Five of Swords. You have 2 fives here. You guys are at a crossroad. Like, I'm hearing that for some reason. Oh, and the Tower definitely confirms that. You are about to make a big change, or like a big change is about to happen. And I see a redirection of your life that's more aligned with your values, more aligned with your authenticity and the truth that you see. And it's gonna bring a lot of stability as well as abundance to you, but it is a major redirection, so be prepared if you're not already actively working towards it. Finally, the Ace of Cups, clarifying the Two of Pentacles. Okay, let's take a look. In the Five of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles, I feel like this redirection is gonna involve some expenses, or it just doesn't seem like it's gonna be financially promising, I guess. And I feel like you've been receiving discouragements, if that's a word. Like, people have been discouraging you and cautioning you against making this change, but you see the truth of what this redirection is going to bring to you. And I feel like you guys are very determined to go on to this new path, even though you haven't been receiving a lot of encouragements for it. But I hope this reading can be an encouragement. Yeah, there's definitely the need to defend yourself in front of a lot of people about this redirection or change that you're about to make. There's almost there could be even arguing happening with you and your close friends or family because they don't really understand why you're doing it. But I feel like you guys do want them to agree with you and you want to bring them along as you make these big life changes. It's like you care a lot about them, about their happiness, and you have a firm belief that your vision of what you should do in your life is also going to bring them happiness. So that's why you want to bring them aboard with you. You want to take them with you, and at least you want them to agree with what you're doing. That's what I'm seeing from the Five of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. You're taking initiative to create this change and also to communicate why you want to create this change. I think you guys are definitely up-leveling your communication skills out of this experience. I think you already are pretty good communicators because you already are very vocal people, expressive people, and analytical people as well. But this experience, having to defend yourself in front of people who don't necessarily understand what you're doing, is like challenging your communication skills and improving it and like up leveling it to a whole other level. Yeah. And I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. I've been talking for a while tonight. The Tower card, clarifying the Queen of Swords. This is about this is both about manifesting materially the things you already understand mentally, and also staying mentally clear and centered as you are shaking up your foundation, as you are shaking up your physical reality. The Tower is a card about change, but it's the kind of change that's self-initiated. Whereas the Death card in Tarot can be about change that's unconscious, things that the changes that sort of come into our life, as opposed to changes that we bring into our life. In the Ace of Cups and the Two of Pentacles, this is like a change for the community. Like somehow I'm seeing it involving a lot of people, or I'm seeing your vision of how you should live involving a lot of people. It's like the truth that you see is a collective truth. It is a collective vision. And it's like you're trying to bring everyone aboard. You're trying to connect with people. And I feel like you are still kind of at the beginning of this this project or this big goal that you have, and it might take time and a lot of effort, but I feel like there's a very hopeful energy in this group, and you are willing to put in the effort and the energy to bring people aboard, to have them agree with you. Perhaps the kind of change that you want to achieve is like related to activism, or perhaps the environment, or something like that. Okay, let's take a few cards for more advice on how you can fulfill this deep desire of yours, which is to see the truth. And also, I want to look more closely at what exactly is the truth that you want to see. Yeah, okay, let's pull cards for what is the truth that you want to see first, and then we will look at advice. Okay, the Star card, which is already a card about vision, about insight and hope, and then the Four of Swords with truth at the bottom. Making peace with something, like how different people can coexist with each other. I think the truth that you want to see is to know how diverse people can coexist, how we can draw from each other's strengths, and how we can support each other by being different. And also, like, for some reason, I'm hearing making amends with the past. Yeah, making amends with the past, righting past wrongs. Because the truth that you see is that we are meant to be different and respect each other's differences. Yeah, however you want to interpret those differences. Yeah, whether like racially, gender, like social backgrounds, economic backgrounds, there is a vision of bringing different people together, bringing different people together and co-creating something together and supporting each other. It's like, if there is a diverse group, then what one person lacks, another person will have, and vice versa. So they can support each other better. I think that is the truth that you see, and you're trying to also see how you can create that vision, how you can bring that into reality. Perhaps the redirection that you're going through involves like going somewhere else, or joining a different community, or bringing different communities together. Or perhaps it's a redirection in order to educate yourself better on how you can support different people, how you can bring together different people. Yeah, there is so much hope, so much optimism and power, and also confidence that you are able to draw out of this truth that you see. Okay, let's look at advice for you. Oh yeah, like co-living, embracing our differences can also mean, for some reason, creating or designing places to allow shared living, or creating or designing places where many people can feel comfortable in. Yeah, I said that because for some reason I suddenly thought about this YouTube channel, Never Too Small. They share like architect apartments that's designed for small space living, simple living, and like co-living situations. I don't know, maybe that's something that you guys are interested in. Okay, advice for you. Queen of Cups. This is really a card that's about intense and honest self-reflection. I feel like you guys are not shy to admit things that you perhaps did wrong in the past. It's not like you have to admit that to other people, but at least you can see and understand within things that you perhaps didn't do so well in the past, and things that you can improve at. And that self-awareness, that self-reflection is really going to help you as you strive to, achieve that vision of yours. You also have the 10 of Cups, happiest card in tarot, and 9 of Swords. I'm actually not going to take these two cards. Let's just work with these three for now. Okay, so Queen of Cups, 10 of Cups, 2 Cups card, 9 of Swords. I feel like as much as it is important to learn from the past, learn from past mistakes, it is equally important not to be too stuck in them. Like, don't blame yourself over and over for things that you see in hindsight that you didn't do so well in the past. I feel like hindsight is a funny thing, right? Because it's always got a bad taste to it, because it teaches us what we could have done. But I would encourage you to think about hindsight this way. If you weren't able to see anything in hindsight that you perhaps didn't do so well at one point in the past, then it's like you didn't learn anything from that experience. So hindsight is also beautiful and encouraging in that way, and it can be empowering if you think about it this way. Use hindsight to like sort of show yourself how much you've changed, and also that you are capable of learning from the past, that you are capable of growing and continuously growing. Yeah. Like learning from your mistakes is supposed to empower you, right? It's not supposed to give you depression or anxiety or guilt. In the Ten of Cups, there is the feeling of being publicly accepted, and standing in the spotlight and having people like clap their hands for you, having people agree with your vision, accept you and what you're doing. Yeah, there's definitely the feeling of people finally coming on board. And I feel like when that moment comes, it's going to be so fulfilling. That is going to be your deepest desire coming true. Wow. Very, very profound group, you guys. Just keep your eyes on that moment. You know, when people finally understand the value of what you're trying to achieve, and they are on board and they applaud you for the work that you've done, and they agree with you, they want to join in on your vision. Yeah, that's going to be so fulfilling for you guys. Okay, I think I just want to end your reading right here. Thank you so much for listening in, and I really enjoyed reading for your group. You are very, very profound and moral and conscientious people. Yeah, I hope this reading gave you some clarity and peace and hope for the future, and I hope I will see you in my next video. Bye.